Hey folks, it's Lindsay Holtz with SPS back in the building out in Las Vegas, Nevada for AASP, Association for Applied Sports Psychology, the 39th annual convention. I had a great opportunity to meet this young man. We were part of the sports and media group, the SIG group, led by some great folks, and we had some great conversations. So I get a chance to introduce Brad Conn to you. He's going to talk about his academic work in a major way and doing some great work with the Ron Artest Meta World Peace Foundation as a board member. So with that being said, man, I'm just going to say, who is Brad Conn, and talk to us about who you are and what you got going on. Yeah.
I feel like with my role having a PhD in clinical psychology, I follow myself as being with what I call the scholar practitioner model, which is really doing research, clinical work, and teaching. So my work is as an instructor. I work at Compton College in Compton, California, and I work primarily with teaching foundation courses in psychology, but also now starting to do some work with the athletes within the athletic department. In addition, I'm also supervising, training, teaching master's level and doctoral students. I'm working on teaching them assessments, cognitive, personality, and neuropsychological assessments, as well as interventions. And I'm doing that work at Pepperdine University and Mount St. Mary's University.
Wow.
And I was doing contract work where I was working in doing an inpatient. However, I've been focusing my time in doing the work that I've just mentioned, but also most recently taking on a role as a board member with the Artest Foundation, which is run by, of course, Meta World Peace, his father, Ron Artest Sr., and also other members within the Artest family. And it's been a beautiful experience because I'm able to take my work as a clinician, but also as a professor, researcher. I'm working with a group of folks that are advocating for change, and they've got a lot of great resources, and we're just coming together and we're just trying to rise.
I love that.
Yeah.
I can appreciate your scholarly work, but I'm sure the name Ron Artest, Meta World Peace, respectfully, just rings bells probably from all crosswalks. So when you talk about your work, talk about the diverse group of people who are familiar with the individual you're talking about, or just maybe intrigued with your work overall.
Well, as you know, Meta World Peace, he was, before he had changed his name to Ron Artest, he actually was known for the basketball, which was
Detroit. I'm from Detroit. I was watching that on TV.
Yeah. So I think that was that moment where he fell from grace, and with the support of family, with the support of others, the support of a psychologist, he was able to learn how to manage his anger and know how to channel and regulate. At the same time, though, by doing that, he successfully won a championship. And if you remember back in 2010, the first thing he said was, "I want to thank my psychiatrist." Then he corrected himself, said, "My psychologist," for what helps kind of regulate the behavior.
And is it because of distinction with the psychiatrist will be able to prescribe drugs?
Yes, we'll prescribe meds, yes, exactly. And oftentimes we think in mental health, we think, I tell folks, hey, I'm a psychologist. First people say is, oh, can you give me meds? You got medication.
Yeah, you got some drugs for me.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
But the thing is that, with psychologists, some can prescribe meds in 4 states, but for the most part, a psychiatrist is utilizing more of a biological model to prescribe meds. And again, meds can be a necessity, especially with severe mental illness. And for our work as being a psychologist, it's more about the talk therapy, interventions, psych testing, accommodations, things of that nature.
I think it's important to note that, because the assumption may be, and assumption is a bad word, that Ron, now Meta, was so far gone that he would have needed medication.
Absolutely.
But to be able to see him in the public space now and how he is without the medication says a lot.
Absolutely. And that's the thing, is that he kind of attested that. And you see now he also helped remove the stigma of mental health. I know even before I was connected with the foundation, I remember working for LA County Department of Mental Health, and Meta was a spokesperson for the LA County Department of Mental Health. Him and Mariel Hemingway, the granddaughter of Ernest Hemingway, her sister had actually, Margot, committed suicide, and they have generational depression. So they were both advocates. So
such a historic name on both ends, but talking about the issues they deal with, that kind of brings it home for a lot of people.
Absolutely. So, with them in the community, they help remove the stigma of mental health, and the fact that you could go in your office and you got posters of Meta all over the place, and it's saying, call this hotline. Even the work that Meta does now, he's had 2 golf tournaments called the World Peace Classic, and that money has gone towards different organizations that focus specifically on mental health. And again, he was one of the first ones to do it. Now you're seeing people like DeMar DeRozan, who is from Compton, and the work that he's doing there. And he's been over about his depression. Kevin Love, as well as Brandon Marshall, with him talking about his bipolar disorder. And you see now athletes on different kinds of shows, more than an athlete, and they're crying, they're being vulnerable. Whereas men, we're not supposed to be that way.
Not at all.
And a lot of the work that Stephen Childrey found in sports psychology is focused not on those deep those deep thoughts, feelings, emotions.
Yeah, you know, just want to add to that. There's power in our vulnerability when we're in this position to do that. Talk about it as a board member. I just joined a great board, Detroit, the Horatio Williams Foundation. So I know what it's like when you kind of take on that board role. Talk about what impact you want to have as a board member and how you want to see the foundation grow.
Well, you know, I wanted to know this, and I have to shoot after this, is that I'm a 2-time community grant winner from AASP. I don't know if anyone else has gotten that. I created 2 times. Hey, just throwing it out there. I'm looking for 3 times, and what we're working on right now is that my last 2, if I could talk about those, are I actually created a sports psych program for the Major League Baseball Youth Academy in Compton, California. And then I also created a sports psych program for the Drew League, which is, if you don't know the Drew League, the pro-am.
I know about the Drew League. Talk about the Drew League for those who don't know.
Okay, yeah, Drew League. At one point was the #1 pro-am in the world.
Shout out to the Moneyball pro-am in Lansing with Desmond Ferguson, but that Drew League
I think right now Atlanta is coming up, but
this one in Lansing, Michigan.
Oh, Lansing, but they're coming up. That's what they're saying right now with their Atlanta. You know, again, you think of like
the Drew League is historic.
Oh yeah, I mean, shout out to Dino Smiley, his daughter Chanel, who's now the commissioner. Mike McKay, who's there. Stephanie Smiley, Dino's wife.
How long ago did you get the award for that, and when did you?
Well, I did that. I did that in 2017. I worked with Dr. Cynthia Clark, who has been a longtime member of AASP, brilliant mind. We worked together. And she supervised interns to get the CMPC, which is a Certified Mental Performance Consultant credential. And from that lineage, I mean, what she had, you see some of these folks now are presenting at conferences, at the conference we're at right now, and doing great things. And not only providing mentorship to the people that are providing interventions, going to the community. And you know, again, we were doing interventions, trust building, and we actually did it in Watts at a school called Jordan. Which is, right by the Jordan Downs, which is one of the roughest projects in the community. This is a place where, Tyrese, came from, and it's a home to a lot of, people. But you usually can't step in there unless you have that pass.
Well, you gotta have some credibility.
Absolutely. And we had, people that helped us. And there was a guy named Big 50. His name is Tyrone. He's actually, if you watch the Drew League doc, he was one of the coaches. He kind of got us in there. We got guest speakers from the league. We had WNBA players come out, talk to the player, talk to them. The first thing they said was, listen to these guys. Listen to them.
And that gave you instant credibility and validation with them.
Absolutely. So between that and then with the Major League Baseball Youth Academy, we integrate a sports psych program already into their academy. So, shout out to the great Frank Robinson, rest in peace. I mean, he oversaw the academy at the time. And again, they were just so welcoming. And my mentor, who for that one was Dr. Carol Oglesby. There's actually a grant named after her. She's a legend of AASP. She was the first woman to get a PhD in kinesiology. She also has a PhD in clinical psych.
Really?
So, and I met her at AASP back in 2012
Shout out to AASP. AASP brings people together.
I mean, I came out here, I like to, if I could tell my story. Please. I came out here as a grad student, no money, flew out here, stayed at my buddy's house in Atlanta, and pretty much I had a friend that worked at Enterprise, got basically a car for next to nothing, and I just showed up with my poster by myself solo and just went to meet people. And actually at a SIG is where I met Dr. Carol Oglesby, just sitting, she was to my left, and we just talked. I said, you're from LA, I'm from LA, let's connect when we get back. And I took her out to the Major League Baseball Youth Academy because I had done some workshops on my own with them. And she said, we need to do some work here.
Wow.
And because of her, we got the grant, and just really, we had a lot of guidance from Dr. Ashley Sampson, who's one of a mentee at first too, who's associated with AASP as well. And it became a great relationship. And she was a great mentor. She helped out a lot of my classmates in my doc program get their hours as well. So, I mean, again, I can't say enough about AASP and what that's contributed to my work. And just as a message to folks out there, you got to hustle. Like, no one's going to give it to you if you don't come out here and do the work. Nothing is given.
Nothing is given. No, I appreciate that, and I appreciate getting to know you, and I'm glad that we have an opportunity to capture this conversation, but also highlight the great work that's happening all over the community. And then sometimes I think people don't think that this work can be done in the inner city, in places where you got to almost have a relationship to get entry, but it's happening.
And that's what's great with the Artest Foundation. For years, they've been doing stuff in the Queens Boys and Girls Club at no cost to the foundation. The junior MBA stepped in to help. Larry Johnson has come and volunteered his time to talk to the kids all through the foundation. And pretty soon, Rod Strickland's going to be helping out as well.
Wow,
and,
point guard.
Of course. And then the New York Knicks have come in. You know, we got a call with the Knicks, and they said, "What do you need? We're going to send you out some of our alumni, and we're going to help out." And it's just, it's beautiful because, and then as Ron Artest Sr. says, he says, "I got Queens behind me," because, as you know, he's got, the rappers and everybody.
QB, Queensbridge hold him down. I know.
Exactly. And what he's done for the community, going out of his own pocket. I mean, Ron Artest Sr., when they did the documentary for
was it Quiet Storm?
Quiet Storm, yes, Quiet Storm. All the money he made went to the community. He didn't. Again, that's the thing is that, and the thing is that this is not stuff he's looking for gratification for.
Right.
Again, help support our research at this year's conference, help my grad students.
Yeah.
I mean, just that stuff goes a long way.
Yeah,
and
I get it.
Him to come check in with us. How are you guys doing? And how are things going there? You know what I mean? That's just all wonderful
really
stuff. We FaceTiming with him afterwards, and he said, "Hey, great job, guys."
They got to feel good coming from him. With the time we have, talk about, Brad, where you want to see things, not only for your foundation work, your community work, but just you. And I know we don't always focus on ourselves individually, but 5 years, 10 years from now, what kind of, trajectory do you want to be on with the work that you're doing?
I think getting back to doing more clinical work. I've been focused much on academia, and I think I needed a break because I started to kind of burn out. And self-care is essential. We have to take care of ourselves.
We had a presentation on that this morning that was important. And self-care is not a luxury. It's a necessity.
Absolutely.
I think that's important.
My man.
Hey, man, I'm so glad we got a chance to meet. I got a feeling this is going to be not the first time, but one of many that we'll be able to work to help other people.
And, anything I can do to support, this is why we're here.
I appreciate it.
We all rise together.
I get that. Any final shout outs you want to give before we let you go?
I would just say shout out to the folks of the Artest Foundation, of course, Meta. What's up to you? Mike Rio Dica, Meta's marketing manager. Of course, Maria Artest, Maria Rosa, Melissa Artest. Let's think of the other people. Isaiah Artest, Meta's son, Daniel Artest, and last but not least, Ron Artest. Anthony Drago, who's also part of the foundation. And can't forget, last but not least, Ron Artest Sr., aka Papa Ron, Mr. Ron Sr. You've been not only a great person to work with, but also, like a father figure. And what you do for the community, you truly are doing God's work, and what you've done to raise your beautiful children and be there for your grandchildren. It's all going to come back, and we just want to be here to support the legacy that you've created and continue that for generations.
Outstanding. Just know, folks, that he's out here hustling hard, very genuine guy. That's how we connected, and that's how we're going to keep things going. So with that being said, this is Lindsay Ellis with SPS coming at you from Las Vegas, Nevada. See you next time. Peace.